This is the William Powell Phoenix, the very gun that I was with at Phoines estate in Scotland. I have made some amazing memories with this gun already. And because they're doing a load of DIY here at the office today, let's go to Barbary. That's a little bit more calm and peaceful, isn't it? Who thought a shooting ground would be quieter than an office? This gun really endeared itself to me. I was perhaps skeptical. It's a 28 gauge, right? And as much as you love a 28 gauge, there's a, I don't know, they can go so wrong. This one weighs in at about 6.5 pounds, just over 6.5 pounds with a 30-inch set of barrels. It does have a spare set of 28-inch with it. But it flowed in my hands. I remember that walked up bit was a little bit of hard work. It's a learning curve for sure. But the driven game, I don't think I've been this turned on by a 28 gauge in a while. And so we're here to have a bit more fun. The principle of this is quite simple. The Phoenix is a round action gun, meaning it is beautifully curved. And the lines of this particular one are stunning as well. It's done to William Powell's spec. You've got a really sharp nose. Everything about it is just nice attention to detail. No selective safety, fixed trigger, solid mid and top ribs. We'll have a proper look over it at some point in a minute. But for now, let's make hell. Yeah. Not a 12 ball, that's for sure. Definitely doesn't sort of handle that smooth movement. Likes a bit of a jerk to it. But absolutely crushes them when you shoot it right. All right, warm up complete. It's amazing how naturally hunting with this gun came and how game shooting came with this gun, and moving into clays, you fall into a lot of your old routines. It is a game of routine. Left to right curler. Something about a 28 gauge has always appealed, right? And it's been a fun voyage sort of discovering what the right kind of 28 gauge is for me. Deciding which weight is right, because they do vary, right? You've got 28 gauges at 5 and a bit pounds all the way up to sort of 7.5 pounds. About deciding what I'm really looking for. And I think something like this would be about right. Weight wise, it still feels small, but it's not super lightweight. Stand closed, let's move on. And I still want it to handle, by the way, a little like a heavier gun. But I don't want a heavier gun, or I'd just take a lightweight 12 or something like that. It could be the hardest gun to buy in the world. Like a 410 you buy, and you just buy the one you like, and it doesn't much matter, you get used to it. But a 28 is such a capable cartridge that I can't help but want the right kind of thing. And this definitely ticks lots of boxes. It's very refined, very old-fashioned, in a good way. Right, sport trap by the look of it. Let's. It's so cold here at Barbary today. It is December. And it's like -1 degree Celsius. I appreciate many parts of the world that is considered warm, and I should be wearing like gloves, but I'm not. Let's shoot. And 18 grams, it's not that bad. But this gun does handle well. I shot that maintained lead for no reason other than I could. And actually I think certainly with a lightweight gun, sometimes it's better to do slightly less movement, I guess. I don't know, for me, right, for me. Right, next bird, C. Wow, that's embarrassing, wasn't it? That little usual, I wait to float and I'll just push up into the target, and I've shot over the top of that twice doing that. I might have to just, I calmed my hand down so well on that B-bird. Calming down. Finding some flow with it now. It's a little less thought required with one of these, right? A little less thought required. Get out, push into it, kill it, just go, kill it, and that was a lot better. I guess, well, I don't guess, I know that certainly the small gauge shooters of the world practice with them because inherently the moves are the same, but the control is much more necessary. I don't have a lot of control at the best of times. With a 12 bore, I can just about manage it. With this, see it shoot, it just feels a little better. Feels more heroic, and I guess that's why you buy small guns. Oh, this really is a thing of beauty. And I know that beauty really doesn't make a gun, but certainly sometimes you just look at something and it does appeal. The lines are beautiful, that forend, the grip is stunning. This does weird things to me. There's that little angle there, the way it flows from the neck down up into the nose there is stunning. All right, we've got a few more shots and then we'll go have a look over her properly back in the studio. Hopefully tomorrow when they're not doing DIY. This looks fun. a left to right rabbit, but I presume it runs the bank. Oh, I can't feel my fingers now. There's no hope. I am such a fair weather shooter. December is built for occasional days on game and watching Netflix. I mean, that is dumb. That's 10 foot away rabbit going full pelt. You could shoot it earlier. Maybe the answer is to shoot it earlier, but the heroic shot is just there before it hits the board and to blow it to bits. That first shot, I absolutely pulverised it and I missed 5 on the bounce. Because guess what? You have to be pinpoint accurate at that sort of distance. And I forgot my shooting glasses today, even though I knew we were coming to the shooting range. And so I'm going to blame that. All right, what's the other target? The bee-bird. That looks perhaps simpler. I don't think I've ever shot that many cartridges that quickly because it's cold and we want to get back in the warm. That was great fun. And you know what? I don't think I've ever had such fun missing. Oh, we'll go and play again soon, don't worry. I have now taken this gun out in Wales, England and Scotland, hunting, driven shooting, all sorts really. And that's pretty rare, to be honest. Usually when I get a gun for review, we take it, shoot a few hundred rounds through it and give it back. This one, well, firstly, Tom hasn't been in too much of a rush for it to go back, which is obviously a nice thing, mostly because I wanted to explore 28 bore more. I've shot a few earlier this year and it's been a year of learning about them. But the opportunity to take one and test it as if I owned it over a longer period of time has been really fascinating. Before I talk about my results and my findings in terms of loads and chokes and boring geekery stuff, let's actually have a proper look over this gun. The Phoenix is a round-bodied gun, meaning you have a curved action and everything kind of flows and curves in a more rounded way. This removes a lot of weight, looks a lot nicer, but is a lot harder to finish, make and engrave than a square bar. That extra time obviously costs some money. So this is not a particularly cheap gun, it's about £8,000 starting price. There's something about this gun that is fairly evident to those who will know. It's actually made by Rizzini, but made to William Powell's spec. We've probably already mentioned that a couple of times, but it's important to lay that home. There's an interesting question there as to, are white label guns worth the money? And I guess that depends on who you are and what you want. Obviously there is a charge for having William Powell's name on it. It's not a standard Rizzini underneath. You have a lot of extras, grip caps, custom stocks, upgraded wood, long trigger tangs, and depending on the model, certainly you are getting better value for money. It's certainly made to a nicer spec. It removes the need to know much about guns when ordering one. And I should be careful what I say here because Tom's been very generous to lend this to me. But I would know exactly what I was to order if I was to go to a gun maker. That's a lie. It would take me a little while to formulate what I was going to order, but we'd soon figure it out. A lot of people haven't dedicated literally all of their adult lives to guns, understanding them, falling in love with them and thinking about it day in, day out by every single minute, more or less. This, for most people, is a hobby, and as such, they will buy something that they like, but it's not quite so anally thought through, and their attention to detail perhaps won't be quite the same. So having somebody like William Powell to guide you through the process, or even just have models that are made ready for you, is appealing to quite a lot of people, and I can appreciate that. The second is the service. There's a name guarantee. When you're proud enough to stick your name on something, it means a lot. I'm sure I've said this before, but back in the day when I just first started out in the gun trade, Alan Pike of Greenfields used to say, when a gun came with a no name, they weren't proud enough to put their name on it. And that's an interesting thing, because inherently putting a name on something does actually mean that you have to be proud of it. And that's kind of an important thing. It's certainly interesting, if nothing else. I think what they've done here is a fantastic thing. So starting at the back, you have a wooden heel plate that is checkered. Actually not that slippery, it's kind of nice. It's not that rough either, it's a great thing. You have upgraded wood on the stock. Every piece of wood is going to be different. There's not too much point talking about it, but this particular one, it's got a little bit of fiddleback, dark orange with some black in it, and a golden oval. It's laser checkered with little touching points at the top. It's nice, it's like 32 lines per inch, it's very fine. Actually not bad, like for 32 lines per inch, it holds the hands really nicely. I've shot this in the wet, in the dry, I've carried it over mountains. I've done a lot with this gun, and it hasn't let me down from a practicality side. Perhaps it's a little pretty for some of the things we've done to it, but why not? I don't know, why not destroy a pretty gun? But why not take a pretty gun through those situations? You can always have it refinished, and that's kind of the point. On the top here you have
a safety that is non-selective. Mentioned this already, really like that as an addition. Super low profile, generally more positive because there's no side-to-side movement at all, so it just allows them to be regulated slightly better. Like the double beaded trigger guard, meaning you have slightly enlarged edges to the trigger. It means you won't cut your finger, but it also is just a nice touch. Again, is just harder to make, and anything that's harder to make is somewhat more exciting if you're into gun making. Otherwise, go and buy something that's less exciting to make if it doesn't matter to you. If it's pure practicality what you're after, probably not looking at one of these anyway. I like the long trigger tang, I like the grip cap. They're nice additions. You know, they don't mean a great deal in terms of practicality. I mean, there is actually practical elements to these, but nowadays where you got a stock bolt through the gun, who really cares? The action is engraved with beautiful deep acanthus that's hand finished by Bottega Giovanelli, which is just above Valtrumpia in Italy. It's nice deep scroll hand finished, as we said, with a bit of acanthus on the top there, and all the way down the trigger guard and on the grip cap. It is undoubtedly a pretty looking gun. I really like the way that these balls are all finished off on the 28 gauge and engraved all around the edge. It's just a nice little touch. Again, kind of silly, but what Rizzini are all about. They are very much hand finished guns. So you have really nice metal to metal fit throughout. It's a great thing. The fore end checkered to the same 32 lines per inch checkering. I think it's 32 lines per inch, I could be misquoting that. Very fine per inch checkering. You have the same engraving, engraved en suite with the action. Little diamond there that holds the fore end in place, and it's on a push button tip removal, which is quite an interesting thing if you're into push button tip removals. It does allow for a slightly different profile of fore end. Again, I always prefer a lever, but it's definitely classier, isn't it? I just prefer a lever because I break stuff all the time, so I like things to be big and heavy. The barrels are solid mid and top rib. This is a 30-inch gun weighing 3,080 grams, whatever that is, 6.5 pounds, give or take, 3,080 grams. It is a multi-choke, comes with a full set of chokes. Chokes-wise, I have played around. What I have discovered is that in the small bore world, everybody spouts what they say is complete fact just as much as people do in the 12 gauge world, which is somewhat annoying, bluntly. So I've had, you can over choke a 28 bore, you can under choke a 28 bore. Everybody spouts what they're saying is complete truths. The reality is I don't think many people know. I asked a few people who are actually really proficient with these, both in hunting and clay shooting, and they gave me perhaps more rounded answers than I own one gun and have shot one gun answers. Both of them, well, they both said slightly different things. The first recommended using less shot. You can overload a 28 gauge. The fact you can put an ounce in one of these is pretty wild anyway. And his whole thing was use a little more choke, a little less shot. No more than half choke because they don't handle choke that well because it's quite a long shot column anyway. And he reckons no more than 21 grams. In fact, he went on to 16 grams, which is what I bought. He said they are perfect, absolutely perfect. You get more speed, less column length, great patterning, not too silly or serious. And he says out to 30 yards, you should be stoning stuff up. And from my experience, that has been pretty much the case if you have been on it. Wounded a couple of things at extended range, but we'd all be lying if that didn't happen with a 12 bore. The answer is you do have to be on it and you do need to make a good and proficient shot. The other chap said you can go up to about 23 grams, any more than that and you start having dodgy patterns and not enough speed in the shell without having excessive recoil through a lightweight gun. I guess it's all down to what you're doing. If I was walking up the hill and was going to fire 5 shots all day, I'd probably handle a heavy, fast shell. But again, due to CIP, they don't really exist. He also recommended a full and a quarter choke. Everybody's different, and I think each gun is going to be different as well as each load, so it's just the same as 12 bore. Go out and pattern test. The barrel's marked up at 14 millimeters. They weigh in at 1,235 grams. William Powell, England engraved on the top there. Exclusively made for William Powell in Italy. It's a fine little thing. Actually, the barrels are struck really nicely. The blacking is really good quality. No complaints there. My favorite things about this gun, I really like the profile of the fore end. It's quite large. It's more 20 bore-esque, I guess, but it's still super low where it's a 28, so it kind of fits. And it just fits very nicely in the hand. It's a really nice radius. I like that. And that's counteracted by the grip. The grip is long, as we've already said. Long, but sort of narrow enough it just feels like the perfect game gun grip. Really like it. Very, very nice. I like the lines, I like everything about the shot. The stock is super sharp gun making, as these guys are very capable of. I'm a big fan. I think for now, my 28 gauge fantasy needs a little break. I need to digest everything I've learned. Perhaps go and spend some even more time in a field with some ballistic gels, some pattern plates, some more targets, try different barrel lengths, try different chokes, and really actually perhaps put all of this information together. Try and figure out the noise from the facts and the logic. There's so much rubbish spoken about them, so many truths, but there's very little to separate the two. So I feel like I probably need to take that as the next step. I've thoroughly enjoyed hunting with this gun. I enjoyed clay shooting with it, perhaps not as much as I've enjoyed the driven days and the bits I've done with it. That 28 gauge is super capable. It's scaled nicely, it's lightweight, and it's just a brilliant caliber. I still don't know whether I'm ready for one. I'm ready to continue exploring, but I was on a walked up day in Wales and it was fantastic to take this gun up on the hill. But I changed over for a 12 for an hour, and the killing capability and the technology of a 12 bore is just superior. And a nice lighter weight side by side really does fill a good void. I'm glad I didn't have to carry it all day, and I'm glad I carried this for the majority of the day, and that's a big deal. It's interesting, right? We can put an ounce in there, but it just doesn't hit like a 12. And I know people will say it does. Maybe that's where this research needs to go. And I guess we will see you in a field somewhere with some gel and some pattern plates and a whole heap of ammo and chokes to explore that at some point when it's not -1 outside. Guys, take care. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to William Powell for letting me have this as long as they have. That was a kindness, and I'm sorry for having used it quite as much as I have. It was perhaps not as polite a thing as I should have done. But guys, you take care. It's been wonderful to give this gun a proper test and fall in love with it a little bit. It's a shame I don't have the money for it, but that's life. Guys, thank you very much for watching. You take care. Goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, guys. This channel is made possible by our amazing sponsors. You can find out more about them in the description down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can join as a member. You get loads of extra content, well, some extra content, and occasionally we hook up and go clay shooting together as a membership group. If you don't feel like joining today, we really appreciate you watching and subscribing. Have a wonderful day.